All right, Sherry, we're live. You're good to begin.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. It's good to see everyone. We will begin this morning with Leah from the Office of Legal Services, who will swear us in.
Good morning, everyone. I will read the oath and then I will state your names and ask for you to accept or affirm. I do solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully execute, to the best of my ability, the office of board member of the Education Professional Standards Board according to law. And I do further solemnly swear or affirm that since the adoption of the present Constitution, I, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state, nor out of it, nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have I acted as second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help me God. Sherry Powers?
I affirm.
Mr. Josh Trosper?
I affirm.
Miss Melissa Conley Salyers?
I affirm.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Leah. Okay, we have waiver A, and I think Kathy is going to present the waiver.
Sorry, I was muted.
I was getting ready to.
Is A, I don't have that in front of me. Is A the one for the 200 hours or the 70 days or the people?
Kathy, A is the student teacher, the 70 days.
Okay. 10 universities have submitted all of the documentation plus letters from their dean requesting that a portion of the 70-day requirement be waived for this semester due to district closures. Those 10 universities are Alice Lloyd College, Asbury University, Campbellsville University, Eastern Kentucky University, Georgetown College, Kentucky State University, Morehead State University, Murray State University, Northern Kentucky University, and the University of the Cumberlands.
Okay, so you have the waiver request before you. We need a motion to approve. So Josh or Melissa, I'll need one of you to make a motion and the other to second, and then we can discuss.
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Melissa.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion or questions for Kathy? Okay. And I will remind you that I am recusing myself from voting on this waiver. So you have the motion before you to approve waiver A. If you approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Okay, and the motion carries. Okay, and Josh, that will be the first on the script okay, where it's approved. Okay, we have waiver B. Kathy, we'll let you present that, please.
Okay, waiver B is from 13 of the universities or the EPPs, and it is a request to waive 200 clock hours of the field experience. They have to have 200 clock hours, so they're asking for portions of this. These are your students who will be student teaching in the spring. Because of district closures, they could not get into the schools. They weren't allowed to be in the schools. There wasn't anybody in the schools. So they have submitted their list and their letters and all of their documentation. Do you want me to read the 13 universities?
I don't think you need to.
Okay, they're listed on the waiver request. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Do we have a motion to approve waiver B?
I make a motion to approve waiver B.
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Okay, then if you approve the motion to approve waiver B, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, no. All right, then the motion carries. Okay, waiver C, Crystal.
Good morning. Waiver C is requested by Scott County Schools for emergency certification for the hiring of a special education teacher. 16 KAR 2120 requires GPA on emergency certification to be a minimum of a 2.5 cumulative or a 3.0 on the last 60 hours completed. This applicant, his cumulative was a 2.019, but he's working towards admission to an option 6 program, and his last 30 GPA, last 30 hours, is 2.87. So he's made substantial progress, but you can't calculate or you can't issue an emergency on the last 30, only the last 60. So Scott County is requesting a waiver of the GPA requirement of 2120 to allow them to certify him for special ed.
Crystal, could you just share with us typically what's been the pattern in terms of what we've accepted on this in the past?
We've seen an increase in these requests in recent board meetings, especially within the last year. Two that come to mind that that the board has approved within the last 2 to 3 board meetings has been in Christian County. It typically tends to be areas where there's a lack of teachers anyway. They have a hard time getting teachers to fill vacancies, so they're having to resort to emergency certification. And a lot of times it's people who are trying to meet admission requirements to option 6 programs. So they have to take additional coursework to get their GPA up. And that we actually have 2 of these waivers today, and that's the case in both of these.
So in this particular situation, this is consistent with what we've approved in the past?
That is correct. Yes. We have 2 recent ones, I want to say, within the last 6 months that the board has approved.
Okay. Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Can we ask questions real quick? I mean, do we know, like,
Yeah,
was there?
if you want a second, Melissa, and then we'll go into the question and
Yes, I'll second.
okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Questions for Crystal?
Is there like a reason that the GPA is so low? Like, is he working full time? And I just worry about the paperwork that comes along with special ed.
A lot of times it's in this gentleman's case, and we see this kind of often, that their undergraduate degree, that either they kind of trailed off, or there was a period of time during their undergraduate that they just, lost focus or whatever. And a lot of times they start to improve the closer they get to their degree completion date. But with the emergency certification requirement having to go back the last 60 hours, a lot of times, and I should say too, that's the only regulation that we still currently have that I recall that still looks at the last 60 hours rather than the last 30. All of our admission requirements look at the last 30. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you go back as far as 60 hours, you're picking up a lot of those lower GPA grades. So until they can take additional coursework, and we can start calculating on the last 30 or the last 60, and some of those older, lower grades drop off, and their newer current grades count because we start with the most recent coursework and work backwards. So a lot of times it's just that, students, lose focus during their undergraduate period.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Other questions or discussion?
So with this request, the superintendent and the principal, they're saying that they've afforded all other options, and there's no certified applicants.
Yes, that is correct. And with the agenda items, typically with these, the district will send letters of support for these hires. And for this particular one from Scott County, there is a letter from Superintendent Hub, as well as the principal of Georgetown Middle School, as well as the official transcript. Well, it's a scanned copy of it that I'm looking at here, but a copy of the transcript from the individual showing the most recent coursework that they've completed. So in order for the district to resort to a emergency certification, they've already exhausted all of their options at this point.
Hey, Crystal, if you just let me hop in real quick as a point of clarification, and you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but with emergency certification, isn't the line that a district has to be able to meet in qualified versus certified?
Correct. Yes.
And so that does become a bit of a judgment call for the district. Josh, I'm sure in your hiring, you've met certified people who were certifiable, who you probably would not hire, and other candidates that you felt like in the pinch would probably be a better fill-in. So it's my guess that that this is probably that situation as well.
Other questions for Crystal or for Rob? Okay, then. Okay, we have the motion before us. If you approve the motion to approve waiver C, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed, no. All right, then the motion carries. Crystal, we'll move on then to waiver D.
Okay, thank you. Waiver D is the same scenario, different district. Christian County Schools request this waiver. This is also for a special ed teacher at Hopkinsville High School. same scenario here. The difference is this person's GPA is a little bit better than the cumulative is a 2.2. The last 30 was a 2.19, however, and I believe that's because this person actually hasn't completed coursework yet, or is in the process of, looks like that he is enrolled in coursework for spring of 21. So he has not started his coursework as of yet, it appears. There is also a letter of support from the superintendent in Christian County Schools. Some of the previous waiver committee or the waiver meeting, or I know this is the first waiver meeting we've had for a little while, but in previous waivers like this, Hopkinsville High School, I believe, struggles to get teachers to just in general. And so this, I believe, is the second or the third one specifically for Hopkinsville High School in Christian County that the board has been brought before the board. But this person is also pursuing option 6, but just has not had a chance or has not completed coursework yet to start raising that GPA.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions for Crystal or discussion? I have one question.
Sure.
Rob, are you still on here? Or,
I am.
Oh, okay. And maybe this isn't the point to ask this. I'm just wondering, is there any, where these keep coming before us and for the most part we're approving them, is there any chance that they're going to look at this statute or regulation and make some changes, or is it in the best interest not to?
That's a good question, Sherry. And Crystal might be able to answer that a little bit better. I know this has come up in conversation. It kind of keeps in terms of front burner issues, keeps kind of getting bumped down the line. It's probably something we need to talk about, but I know that it's that tension of trying to figure out what's the right bar for making sure that we have appropriate standards.
Right.
And not just letting anyone come in, but still trying to meet the needs of where we are. I feel like we still get just a few of these to a point that it might not be worth going for a wholesale change on the regulation versus kind of what we've seen with admissions testing and ETS and all the history that we got for that recommendation. That's kind of, we've seen that as a growing concern. I feel like we've seen a few more of these, maybe in the midst of all the mess that we're in right now, but I would like to maybe give it another year or so and see if numbers hold or increase before we look at that.
Okay. I was just wondering. So
no, good question. Thanks, Sherry.
Okay. All right. So you have the motion before you. Any other discussion or questions? Okay. Then if you approve waiver D, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed, no. All right, then the motion carries. Okay, so I think that concludes our business for today. Josh, do you have questions about A and B, what you'll need to do? Okay, all right. Well, thank you, everyone, and I guess I'll see you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in a few.
Oh, okay.
What's up, Kathy?
I have these 2 waivers that are going to be on the consent agenda, the alternative waivers. In the past, we still presented them to you all before they went on, to the board. So do you want to hear them or no?
Yeah, just if that's what we do, just read them to them real quickly. These are the foreign language placements,
Yes.
correct?
They're
Okay,
both from the University of Kentucky. I won't even do them separately. They're for foreign language. One of them is a Miss Massey, and she's a German teacher or will be a teacher, and the other one is for Jessamine Reisinger, and she is a Latin teacher. And there are no certified teachers in Kentucky that teach those two things. They don't even teach the other ones. So they want to spend their whole placement in a high school or a middle school setting. So the staff approved it, and we just wanted to let you all.
Okay, so do we need to take formal action on that, Kathy?
You know, I don't know. In the past we did, but
I don't think you do.
I don't think so
we do
either.
either.
And the reason being is that the board voted to move those to consent items. And so there's already been action by the board to deem that those could go to consent. But I think it's important, as Kathy said, just to give the waiver committee the heads up before it goes before the full board, in case there are any questions.
That's perfect. Thanks.
Melissa,
Thank
do
you
you
all.
or have any questions about that?
No.
Okay. All right.
Well done, everybody. We'll see you in a few.
Thank you.